All right. I am talking to my now good friend and someone who I've admired from a distance until not too long ago, Maz Maher. He plays trumpet, and in some ways, that's what a lot of folks would probably know him best for because he's one of the founding members of a little band called Snarky Puppy. But what I discovered not too long ago, when Mike came to Toronto to do a double bill with Michelle Willis, is that he's also an extraordinary singer and songwriter, guitar player, multi-instrumentalist. And I mean, my mind was blown. I had no idea. I should have known because, Mike, the way you play trumpet would suggest that like the palette you're drawing from is much wider than just that instrument. But anyway, welcome. I'm so glad you could find time to speak with me today. Where are you?
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here, Lila. I am south of Boston in a little town called Weymouth.
Okay.
Last week, about like 10 or 11 days ago, the Sunday before last, I came up to see a friend that I hadn't seen in a while. And I had found out that the class that I've been taking in New York, an Alexander Technique class, had been canceled for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because of the coronavirus. So honestly, at this point, that's the only reason I'm in New York. The only thing I'm doing in New York regularly, because most of my work is touring with Snarky Puppy. So when I come back to New York, I'm usually just working at home. So we were talking, and I said to my friend, okay, I'll come up and hang for a little while. You know, I don't have anything to do in New York. So I was thinking a couple of days, maybe, you know.
Right.
And then stuff started to get really weird in New York, and you know the hospital situation is weird, and a lot of people have become infected. So I was planning on going home yesterday, as you know, because we were talking about that, and then that actually, my roommates are worried about any of us having anything and spreading it to each other. So I'm going to stay a little bit longer. So I'm in Weymouth right now, in a much more spacious apartment than my own in New York.
Looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's very nice. It could be a lot worse.
And thank God for friends around the world, eh? And I'm sure because of the circles you travel in, you literally have friends all around the world, many of whom would be delighted and honored to have you share their space in spite of present circumstances. So I want to just quickly go back to your roots. You're from Texas originally, right? Oh, no, you're from Wisconsin.
That's right. Yeah, I'm from Milwaukee. I went to school at North Texas.
Yeah,
Wisconsin. Yeah. I went to school in Denton at North Texas, but I grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Right. I seem to have a connection with Wisconsin. I feel like Canadians have some sort of simpatico with people from Wisconsin.
Yeah, we share a border. We have similar accents.
Yeah, we love cheese. So anyway, you were trained, I'm assuming, as a trumpet player, or did you start off learning piano?
I was trained in college as a trumpet player with a concentration in jazz music.
Great.
So that was my major. Yeah. And before that, as you mentioned, I played and had my hands on a lot of different instruments and still do. That's obviously a big part of my musicianship. But yeah, jazz trumpet at North Texas.
Very cool. And I've seen you play guitar. I feel like you must also play keys.
Yeah.
Did you have any formal piano training at any point in your life, or was it just something you picked up along the way?
I spend a lot of time playing the piano now when I write. That's the instrument I primarily write on. So I had a little bit of the required keyboard training in school, just learning my 2-5-1s and stuff like that, and getting around harmony. Basically, that's it. That's enough to get you through a lot of life.
Right. That's hilarious, especially in the jazz world, which you stretch way beyond. And I guess that's also why I have felt so drawn to you as a musician. I feel a simpatico with who you are. where you have this rich background in jazz, and it's so evident in your playing and in your musical imagination, the palette of sounds that you draw from. But it's so clear that you love other styles, and that diversity, that range is just undeniable when one hears you live or on recording. So, and I'm so sorry to have to keep this so short. I feel like I'm on borrowed time right now with my family and my homeschooling my kid. But I do want people to know where they can find you and your music. You released an album. Have you released a couple of solo albums now with Ground Up Music?
Yeah, I have two. There's an EP and there's a longer album, and then there's also like a 3-song, like another EP that has material from my first 2 albums, but we rearranged it for a live performance, like a live video performance. That's all under Maz, M-A-Z. That has been my artist name up until basically this year. I'm changing it to Maz Maher.
Yeah.
Because it's very hard to find Maz on Spotify and all the streaming services, because there's so many people that go under the name Maz, and they don't really provide for, the internet doesn't really, search engines don't provide for, it's just really hard. You have to jump through a lot of hoops and have a lot of clout in order to be searchable with that kind of name. So I've changed the name for that reason. And all of my future releases will be under Maz Maher. Also, people know me in that way because of my association with basically the world of music as a trumpet player. People call me that. So why not?
I have to say that I'm thankful you just said your name 3 times, I think once earlier and then twice now, because for my whole life, until recent, and even when we were performing together, I was calling you Maz Maher, and I think that's what I called you at the beginning of this interview because it's so ingrained. But it's Maher.
Yeah, it's Maher. Yeah, you say the H. Yeah, it's a very common name. Yeah, a lot of people say Maher. It's a very common name. It's Irish, and a lot of people say Maher, so it's totally understandable.
Well, for someone who's been called Layla her whole life, I want to get it right. So keep correcting me. Thank you, Maz Maher, for joining me. And again, I just thank you for your amazing contributions to Out of Dust, trumpet as well as vocals. And definitely look forward to performing with you again once this, quarantine rule regulation is lifted, once we are, experiencing a little more normalcy, or the new normal, I suppose. And I wish you the very best. And I guess I'll say until next time, see you online.
Till next time. Congratulations on the release.
Thanks, darling. Bye.
Bye.